ready to move your watch back 2 hours. It's mountain time. This is the ChampCar iRacing Series Round 8 at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Bringing you live coverage here with HJBC. I'm David Haynes with Devin Peters and Michael Derby as we look forward to 1 hour of sim racing at Australia's greatest racing track. We've hit all of North America's greatest tracks here supporting the ChampCar Endurance Series. So it's time to give the mountain a go. So much history around this place. It's a formidable, challenging racetrack. And Devin, we're hoping it gives us a good race today.
Well, I got to think it will with the show these guys put on for us at VIR just a couple weeks ago. It was battles all the way to the end, and a track that's got some of the same character as that one out in Virginia is this one here at Mount Panorama. Big long straights, lots of opportunity for drafting, and lots of corners that want to just chuck you into the walls. So I think we'll have a real display of skill from all of our drivers here today, and by the looks of things, it's going to be as close as ever as we get into this qualifying session.
Ordinarily, the ChampCar iRacing Series is about learning the tracks, gaining experience, and building muscle memory for the ChampCar Endurance Series, but today it's just about racing for championship points at one of the greatest racing tracks in the world. And that championship is 12 rounds long, and here's what it looks like. So we've been going to all of the greatest racetracks of North America, and in support of the ChampCar Endurance Series, tracks like Road Atlanta, Daytona, Watkins Glen, Sebring, Lime Rock Park, and VIR, to find ourselves here at Round 8 at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. And then it's Mid-Ohio, the Adelaide Street Circuit, Road America, and Circuit of the Americas to crown our champion there, September 23rd. And Devin, we've pointed out the reasons that we're racing. It's to get to know our fellow racers, it's to learn these tracks, but it's also with some great prizes on offer thanks to ChampCar Endurance Series.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sprint Series is really kind of following the ethos of the ChampCar Real World Series. It's the simplest path to real world racing. So if you manage to win the ChampCar iRacing Sprint Series, you'll be 2,000 champ bucks richer. 2,000 champ bucks that you can apply to go and race in any real world ChampCar event, as well as if you're not so fast, you can just show up and win some prizes. And so we've got three 250 champ buck draws for drivers who show up for 4 consecutive rounds in the spring, summer, or fall mini seasons. And then, of course, after that September 23rd final round wraps up, for the Sprint Series, we'll have our Endurance Championship kicking off in the winter here, and we'll have even more prizes available. Altogether, ChampCar has nearly $3,750 worth of prizes available to drivers who want to take their virtual skills to the real racetrack.
And at the end of today's race, it will be 4 races completed in the summer, and we will be spinning the wheel to randomly decide one of the 250 Champ Buck prizes. There's some names that are very familiar to us on that wheel because, again, they've been doing the 4 races in a row. It will be one of these drivers at the end of the race. We'll be spinning the wheel, so stick around for that one after the podium as we see who takes home a randomly drawn ChampCar iRacing Series prize. So to the track then. And qualifying is underway with just a couple of minutes left, which will set our field for the rolling start in the 1 hour race. And it's a pilgrimage. Everyone has come to the mountain. 36 Toyota GR86 race cars out there. The fastest driver in qualifying at the moment second in the championship by 1 point. Ryan Puchtel, the championship leader, Jared Collins, second in this qualifying session. And the defending champion looking to go back-to-back in 2026, Michael Polasek, currently sitting third on the grid.
Yeah, Jared Collins is sitting there in second place, hoping to hold on to that championship lead. He's parked the car for now, so we're following along with Ryan Puchtel. But he said in his preseason interviews that the GR86 was his favorite car. So we'll see if he's able to take that favorite car status and make a difference today. Ryan Puchtel, however, has put the fastest lap in so far. He's the only driver in the 226s, which is very fast around here at the mountain. And you can see as he comes out of Forest Elbow some of the challenge that this track presents with those really tight walls through the mountain section that are going to be posing a challenge for our drivers today. You have to be confident and you have to be perfect, because an inch offline can be the end of your race.
Now, the weather today is absolutely perfect, as it is every day in Australia. Partly cloudy, beautiful morning, sun is out at the moment. And that's make sure you wear your big hat and stay in the shade kind of weather. Just a couple of seconds left in this session, and Ryan Puchtel is going to cross the line. He's looking to improve on a 226.98, and he puts down a 227.2. So it is no improvement, but there is consistency and repeatability from Ryan Puchtel there. Something that he'll hope to be showing in the race. Jared Collins, as we've seen, on pit lane, no chance to improve. Ryan Puchtel won't either. Michael Polasek is out on track. There he is, going underneath the bridge towards the final corner. The Motor Racing Museum is on the outside of the track there. The pit lane is on the left. The walls get very close. This is a street circuit, and for Michael Polasek, it's a personal best, but it's no improvement in the standings.
Got the Salins Mobile making its way across the line, one of our regulars there. And as the drivers come around on this final lap, I think a few of them are just trying to get a little bit extra time behind the wheel of what is a pretty intimidating track if you've never had the chance to try it out in the simulator or watch some of the amazing events that go on here, whether it's Bathurst 1000 or the 12 hours at Bathurst. What's the official title on that one, Haynes? You'd have to help me out.
I'd say the Maguire's Bathurst 12 hour.
There you go. So GT3 cars or super V8 supercars being piloted around this place. Today with the GR86s, we got to think that there'll be a lot of drafting down the big straights. So I have this feeling that the pack will be real close together until someone like the Bear Pope goes and spreads them all apart. We'll have to see.
At the moment, 32 drivers have set lap times. It puts these drivers like Sean Sirota in 23rd, Matt McGee in 17th. So the Canadians working together. There's a Bathurst Street in Toronto, but I don't know how they pronounce that.
I think just about the same. Maybe upside down relative to how you're used to hearing it. But Matt McGee, I think, was getting a little bit of help from Serrata there, trying to get a fast one in, because he was competing with Kevin Glass for fastest Canadian in the qualifying session. Kevin Glass with 16th place. Means that Matt McGee now has to write his car off, I think. I think that's how that goes.
Historically, I think the fastest Canadian at this track was probably Alan Moffat. And that takes the racetrack quiet for just a moment. But when they next fire up, it'll be for 60 minutes of racing at Mount Panorama, with a pit stop required because everyone starts the race with 7 gallons of fuel on board. That's going to necessitate that they take a pit stop, but at a time of their choosing. Could be very early in the race, could be somewhere closer to halfway, could be some drivers that attempt to save their fuel and take a pit stop towards the later end of the lap. 60 kilometers an hour is the normal speed limit around these public roads. You can take that sign down for the next 60 minutes, though, because they are going to be flying down Conrod Straight, up Mountain Straight, and over the top of the mountain. I can hear the kookaburras in the trees. The fans are ready, and we're about to get to the grid.
Any word on the kangaroo forecast for today, David?
I've had a word with them. They're all going to stay back behind the safety fences.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Or we'll turn them into dog food.
As I say, one of the few things not simulated in the iRacing world. You can see some of these just imposing walls as you come up the mountain. And we wait for the competitors to start gridding.
So this is how they are going to start, but we'll see how they're going to finish. Ryan Puchtel on pole position from Jared Collins. Michael Polasek with a string of wins in a row starts from third. Michael Chase in fourth. Caden Parks-Miller fifth on the grid with Ryan Carwile in sixth. There's Jack Stodola seventh, David Martin eighth, Alex Harrison ninth, and Lee Martin in 10th. Kevin Collins in 11th, Logan Sennhauser in 12th, Tim Wire in 13th, Cameron Sennhauser 14th, Simon Furwether 15th, and Kevin Glass there 16th, Matt G in 17th, Andy Cossack in 18th, John Nicholford 19th, and Taplin in 20th. First on the grid is Bowie Sewan, Ian Giebler in 22nd, there's John Sirota in 23rd, Orlando Herald 24th, Nick Love 25th, Ross Dudridge in 26th, Will Warren in 27th, James Helbling in 28th, Steve Hemetz in 29th, and Bill Salen 30th. Last two drivers that set qualifying times, Cindy Pickett and 31st, Tom Love in 32nd, Clancy Garvin in 33rd, LaShawn Young-Dilworth 34th, Oliver Brooks 35th, and Andrew Ball 36th. Those last four drivers didn't set qualifying times, and the championship standings are very interesting as we enter round 8. Because Jared Collins leads by just 1 point from Ryan Puchtel. Ryan Carwile, I've got those names the wrong way around perhaps, or if I got the points wrong. No, that sounds right. Ryan Carwile in third with Polasek. 4 wins in a row in 4th place there. The green flag waves at Mount Panorama. 60 minutes begins and Ryan Puchtel heads down towards turn 1 in the lead of the race. Through Hell Corner and then up Mountain Straight. He leads Jared Collins and Michael Polasek. They go single file in the top 5, battling side by side there behind. And it looks like Jared Collins is pushing Ryan Puchtel up towards Griffin's Bend. Heavily banked corner here. You want to be on the inside line. You don't want to be around the outside of anyone. The top 3 go single file. Kevin Glass alongside Tim Wire as they continue to climb the mountain up towards the tight and blind cutting corner.
And it's always breathless at this part of the race with guys too wide through corners that do not want to be too wide. So far, the drivers are doing a good job of keeping it clean, though, today.
do not speak too soon till we've descended the mountain as well. This is where things get tight. Over the hill at Skyline into the dipper corner here where the track drops away fiercely, and then the S's down towards Forest's Elbow. They've tried to play it safe in the top three. Still Puxel from Collins and Polisek. Here's Caden Parks Miller and Ryan Carwile. And this is the fastest straight on the whole track. And Cameron Sennhauser has gone wide at McPhillamy Park, touched the grass and spun into the concrete wall on the inside.
That's our first victim of the mountain. You can see the danger of getting just a little offline, a little cold tire maybe, catches Cameron out, and the driver that's a consistent presence in the series is going to be parked for repairs here in the early part of the race after starting in 14th place.
This is Michael Chase and Caden Parks Miller side by side at the final corner. It's one lap completed, and they're battling for fourth position as your top three settle in. Michael Chase drops behind Caden Parks Miller, Ryan Carwile just behind them, Jack Stadola just behind that. David Martin in 8th, Lee Martin up into 9th, and Alex Harrison is the last driver inside of the top 10. They're going to catch that top three. They're going to need to work together at that fourth position. It's one thing for Caden Parks Miller to go ahead. It's another to try to catch our top three, particularly if Jared Collins is going to keep pushing Ryan Puxel along.
Yeah, it's critical with the long straightaways out here just to maintain contact with the lead group, because you can be a little bit slower over the top of the mountain if you've got the draft. But if you don't have the draft, then every single lap you're going to lose a little bit more.
Certainly seems like Parks Miller's been quick going through the cutting there, and then you can get to full throttle and almost keep it through this section here. You've got to get so close to the walls though to be quick, and that is a risky thing to do every single lap for 60 minutes in a row. He also rides just a little bit of that curb at McPhillamy Park on the exit, where a bit of gravel's been brought back onto the track after lap 1. So the circuit has gotten a little bit dirty, and heading down the hill, this is where the driver makes the difference at this track. He is looking super quick, like he could close in on that top three before they come out of this corner. He's gone a bit wide, and your exit's so critical.
He did every single corner right coming over the mountain until the very last one, and that wide entry into Forest Elbow is going to cost him not tenths but seconds coming down the Conrod straight here. Fastest point on the track, and in a car like this that's a little bit underpowered, it's costing him everything. He's even under threat from Michael Chase behind here.
So all of his gains in the corners are undone down the straight.
Meanwhile, at the lead, they're too wide. Jared Collins has just lost the spot to Michael Polisek into the chase that time by. Oh, and for a moment, we've lost our leader. Ryan Puckdahl blinks out of existence. You'll see that happen on iRacing sometimes if there's a little bit of latency. Hopefully it doesn't become a factor in the race today.
So Michael Polisek already up another spot to get in behind Ryan Puckdahl. Jared Collins going back to third, but still very much in touch with this leading group.
And so much of this track is blind just because of the elevation when you're turning into the corners, but when you're racing, it's also blind because you're so close to the guys ahead of you in some of these corners. So you'll often see drivers lifting and coasting just to be able to get their eyes on the apex on some of these tight corners as they come up the mountain. A little touch there on the outside wall for Caden Parks Miller, and that's not going to do anything good for the alignment or anything good for the momentum.
We've seen that his best is very quick, but the consistency is struggling there. So he's got Michael Chase and Ryan Carwile and Jack Stadola all over him. as they go towards the highest part of the racetrack and then immediately drop down. Massive elevation change around this track. Is there a sense that Caden Parks-Miller's speed is from taking more risk and sometimes it's not paying off?
I was just about to float on a different theory. He seems to do really well on the uphill parts of the track, maybe more comfortable with an understeering car. And then on the downhill parts of the track, he's turning in just a little bit late, just kind of missing it. The car's maybe not handling quite as well for him there. Either way, he's got pressure from behind. Michael Chase is too wide as they come over the hump on the Conrod straight. Turning in. Michael Chase is going to hold the preferred line on the way into the corner and clears him before the braking zone is finished.
I suppose it becomes Michael's chase in that case. He goes up to fourth position. That top three are lap on lap, getting further away from them, getting a little further out of touch. Just a little bit behind. That looks like David Martin might have gotten ahead of Jack Stadola. Lee Martin, we've seen, has gone up into ninth, ahead of Alex Harrison. Just sits there in 10th. Simon Foweather's up 4 spots into 11th, just behind. Logan Sennhauser is in 12th. We saw the massive crash for his brother Cameron Sennhauser. Last round, we only had one of the Sennhausers. We're used to seeing the two brothers together, sometimes sandwiching their competition, and when it comes to the Enduro season, sharing a car together. It's Michael Chase's turn to try to lead this group in fourth, but he's gone very wide through cutting, come out of the groove of the camber there. Parks-Miller goes around the outside of him to the cutting after Griffin's Bend, and it's back up into fourth spot. So it's a hot property here around fourth, fifth, and sixth position.
Yeah, no one wants to give an inch and lose any more time to lead pack. It's about a 4-second gap from the top 3 to this battle pack stretching from 4th through 10th place. And every time someone makes a little mistake, it seems like there's a new leader trying to grab onto the 4th position. Caden Parks-Miller holding on so far though, and you can get a sense of just how big the drop is on some of these corners, particularly at the Dipper. My first exposure to this track, my most memorable exposure to this track was that Darrell Waltrip video where he rides around in the passenger seat. That's worth a look after our broadcast here today, but it is something else around here.
It can get positively wild. So Parks-Miller back into fourth. Chase, I think, pushing him. Something that we see happen, particularly at these tracks with really long straights, is just put nose to bumper. Happened a week ago at VIR, and certainly happening again here with the dual straights of Mountain Straight and Conrod Straight.
Oh, it's busy. It's busy at the Chase right now. Just catching it. Clancy, who's this? This is James Helbling, who is coming the worst for wear, I think, out of quite a kerfuffle. We'll watch it coming into the Chase this time. And up ahead of him, they're all too wide. And as they get into the Chase, it's going to be a little bit of chaos. Cars bumping and banging off of each other. Let's see. We don't quite get the right angle here. But you can see cars sliding off the track, pushing each other all over the place. It's really hard to make clean passes anywhere on this track, and you're getting some evidence of it here. Clancy Garvin making some moves back in this pack, up 13 positions after starting 33rd place. We're seeing one of them here as a sharp move to the inside is going to take another one heading into the first turn. And meanwhile, what do we got, Haynes? Oh, no.
I'd say an issue at the exit of... Oof. Yes, very much an issue there.
Corey Bend claims a couple victims. That's, it looks like one of those cars we were just looking at battling in the chase. So things kind of getting stacked up, guys making little mistakes, and very easy to write a car off if you're not careful.
This was always going to be a track that was going to claim some victims, and not our top three though. Ryan Puchtel has led every lap, but there's been that change behind him. Michael Polisek going into second position, Jared Collins rolling around in third. Our top three couldn't be closer, going through the chase past the hotel that I can't afford to stay at on race weekend, I'll tell you that.
I think
I'm closer to a boat in the harbour in Monaco Grand Prix.
I have a feeling with the amount of challenge that this track poses and some of the early stops we've seen, I think these leaders are going to have to contend with some lap traffic out here today. Seeing it stack up a little bit.
Yeah, John Nicholford and Bowie Sewin go around Clancy Garvin in that group where no one's willing to exercise any patience when it comes to the end of the Long Mountain Straight going into the chase.
Yeah, it is a track that demands a little bit of decision making in terms of, do I need to pass? Should I pass? Because the overspeed from the draft will always be there. But in a long race like this, sometimes it's better to stay in line, keep pushing. We're watching Bowie Sewin and Clancy Garvin leading this group up towards the first corner on the mountain, Quarry Bend. And we got one sideways up ahead. That's the Tim Wires Sailor Mobile. We'll see here.
Wire. Kevin Glass is in him all the way through turn 2. And that's Tim's friend Ian Giebler that gets a little bit of the contact on the exit. As he gets going, the next pack comes through.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a little bit of latency involved there, because that's not the kind of racing we've come to expect from those two. Either way, car ends up facing the wrong way, and there's not a lot of places to go when you're up on the mountain.
Our leading group heading down the mountain once again, and behind them, Caden Parks-Miller in 4th, Michael Chase in 5th, Ryan Carwile 6th. Group settling in here, but Alex Harrison and Jack Stadola dropping off the back of this group. Stadola's lost some spots. Didn't pick exactly where that happened for him, but it's been a little costly.
I think just taking some conservative lines over the mountain, as far as I can tell. I haven't seen any major issues from that car.
Wide at the final corner from Caden Parks-Miller, but he'll just keep that 4th place. And a little wide turn 1 as well.
We got things well and paved behind the curbs here, so it's always tempting to use it all. But it looks like he's got a good partner in Michael Chase giving him a push, with Ryan Carwile hanging back a little bit too. And the difference in a draft here can be 5 miles an hour at the end of a straight, so really, really big. Our leaders are coming up on some lap traffic. I think this is James Helbling up ahead of them. Helbling getting caught up in some of that drama earlier on. And we'll see if they catch him as they're going over the mountain. That McDowell's car will be a challenging obstacle.
Gets a little out of sorts. It feels like a ski slalom heading down the mountain, right to left to right to left. descending, trying to keep everything under control.
And you can see the way the leaders close up how critical it is to maintain your momentum, but how challenging it is through that downhill section. Done some endurance races here, and the focus required here, I think, is pretty singular. There's only a few tracks that demand you just be switched on the way you have to be when you're going over the mountain. But it looks like these three will clear the lap traffic without any problems.
So you've got the hotel there with the red roof is the National Motor Racing Museum. The paddock campground and car park around the outside. Well, there's even a billboard there for the museum. Lots of rotating exhibits through there. It's not quite IMS's collection, but it's decent.
Is there one of the Godzillas in there?
Yes. If you want some turbocharged Nissans, you'll find one or two in the museum. Top three over the little crest at Mountain Straight, past one of the vineyards, and then into the cutting where the road is super banked on the inside and not on the outside, and makes it very difficult to pass around the outside here and gets you in trouble very easily if you go wide. Still got Parks Miller leading chase with Carwile, David Martin and Lee Martin behind, having lost Alex Harrison and Jack Stadola from this group, completing the top 10. Simon Foweather has gained 4 spots this race to get up into 11th. Matt McGee up 5 into 12th position. Then Andy Cosick and Kevin Glass 13th and 14th together here. Bit of damage on the nose for Kevin Glass, perhaps, after a little bit of contact with Tim Wyatt. Nick Love in 15th. If you want to see side by side, you'll look back here to, I think, John Mickelford and Oliver Brooks, with Orlando Herald trying to sneak up the inside of the cutting.
A tricky spot to do it. And the cars are just straining at this part of the track because it's so far uphill. Meanwhile, back the leaders, they're running downhill and pushing hard. And I'm getting the impression Polisak's playing the fuel, running in second place. But I'm getting the impression that Jared Collins might be too. The two of them just enjoying the draft they're getting from Ryan Puckdall up front. Even still, the three of them are running laps that are very respectable. Low 227s. Only ones on the track in that kind of pace.
At the moment, Jared Collins the fastest lap of the race at a 226.7, but it's backed off just a tiny bit from there. Weather remains very much the same as it was in qualifying, partly cloudy, but I don't know where those parts of clouds are because it looks like a gorgeous sunny morning. And he passed its campgrounds on the left and private properties on the right. They come up for sale every now and again, and they never seem to get cheaper.
I bet you the camping that you can do in those vineyards is a good reason to own those properties. I think the strategy is going to be important for determining how this race goes, just like all the strategy that plays out in our ChampCar races. These guys are I'm impressed by how much Michael Polisak has fallen in the wheel tricks of Ryan Puckdall. It takes a lot of confidence to do that, with how challenging these corners are and how precise your car placement has to be. You can see Polisak was maybe a quarter of a car wide through the cutting and probably lost 2 car lengths. Do the same at Forest Elbow and you'll lose 10 car lengths.
And this is where you begin to really pick up speed. You see how quickly he gets into 5th gear going down the hill compared to going up the hill. And there's a 6th gear. And yep, it's going to get a little bit of use. Now you start to really close quickly. And he just says a little bit of a hello. Or as we say in these parts, Devon.
Bonjour.
Oh, I think we'd say g'day. But...
fair enough, fair enough.
Just 0.3 of a second to cover the top 3 as they went into the final corner. Yet to take their pit stops yet. Redundant saying it twice, but still Parks Miller in 4th. Michael Chase, I think, got his namesake corner a tiny bit wrong. He's dropping back here with Ryan Carwile right on his tail.
Watching Michael Chase here. He's pulling off to the left-hand side of the track, having to give back some time, cut the corner earlier in the lap. And you can see here him desperately trying to hold on to the outside line. Tricky to do. He'll give up a spot to Ryan Carwile. And Michael Chase and Lee Martin are lining up behind him. Ryan Carwile making that Virginia Tech car look good.
So now Caden Parks Miller's like more than a second ahead. You wonder if he's going to try to keep that going. With Ryan Carwile, it's about a second and a half behind. Here's Helbling again, who we saw the top 3 go past. Now Parks Miller will aim to do so. The dipper there and on the exit. Chase right behind Ryan Carwile. Now
Both
unrelated Martins of David and Lee together. Yeah, that's not what you want them to do when you're catching someone to lap them, is for them to not get out of your way but also make a mistake and slow up.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind having a drafting partner there. Luckily, Caden Parks Miller going to get away with it, I think. And that little gap that Caden's been able to create, I think, is going to be preserved here.
Michael Chase moving around a little bit with David Martin right behind him. Helbling wide at Murray's corner, moves off the racing line and woes up. At the same time, David Martin thought about taking it 3 wide there, trying to get around Michael Chase, but decided not to do it as they were lapping.
And so our top 10 all within the same straight of each other, but all racing kind of within themselves at this point, I'd say. Trying to find that rhythm you got to have around here. Coming up on 25 minutes into the race, you got to start thinking about the strategy you got to have around here too.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few drivers stop already, and Andy Cosick is the most recent. He's just taken some fuel, roll down the lane, and then exit on the inside of turn 1 up Mountain Straight.
Yeah, in the ChampCar iRacing series, we give the drivers 1 faster pair each. So early fuel stop can be a strategy call. It can also be a repair call. This wouldn't be too early though. But the risk that you run, as Andy Kosick is demonstrating here, is that you're going to come out in the middle of some traffic. So he's going to have to make some passes here in the next few laps in order to make this early stop pay off.
Yep, he's ahead of Ian Giebler, who's already stopped, and behind Cindy Pickett, who hasn't. And Logan Sennhauser is the highest running driver who's already made a stop just a couple seconds further up the road here. So there's Logan.
Running in the clear air. And then we rejoin our battle pack. This is the likes of Caden Parks Miller. Just holding on to a second lead over Ryan Carwile and Michael Chase. So that lead is coming down a little bit. Some of that you can chalk up to the draft. David Martin and Ryan Carwile being locked up on the straight made up a lot of ground. And now Michael Chase is hoping David Martin will give him the same push, but he doesn't. David Martin looks up the inside as we come into Corey Bend. Hard life around the outside here, as we've mentioned, but you can make it work if the guy on the inside helps you. And there was a little room, but David Martin makes it stick. Carries just a little bit more speed through the apex. That was a nice clean pass.
It was just about perfect, using the crown and camber of the road, but now needs to try to catch Ryan Carwile, because Carwile has caught Parks Miller. So that little gap for fourth place has shrunk. Into McPhillamy Park, track drops away and then comes back up to meet you again, so you get a lot more grip on the exit than you think, and then that grip all goes away again over Brock's Skyline. Navigating the S's, got to do a lot of braking while you're turning, while the car's running on downhill to get into the dipper there, the steepest part of the racetrack. You almost get airborne, and then you're braking downhill, trying to take a late apex into Forest Elbow, and then your exit is so important, and the speed ramps up so quickly running downhill. I kicked a toy car off the top of Brock's Skyline one year, and it ran all the way down to here.
Did you run after it?
Yeah, I had to give it a couple of kicks to steer it straight.
Somehow I believe it. Just in the
Martin
background
runs
there.
wide at the chase in front of Michael Chase, who's like, maybe I'll push you along, but it's a slowdown for David Martin. Lee Martin goes one way, Michael Chase goes into the pit lane. So he sees what's happening ahead, and he's going to pit away from this group. And it could be a risky play, but he's going to hope that it pays off. Our top three all stayed out. With the way the traffic is, I think they are going to pit as late as they possibly can, because it's going well for them up front.
Yeah, they've got one bit of traffic just ahead of them. That's Steve Vermetz in the 29. Steve Vermetz currently running in 29th place, I believe. Oh, 31st place. I misspoke. Either way, Ryan Puchtel's rapidly approaching. And with the pace differential here, we might actually see a pass on the mountain. And at a tricky part of the mountain, no less.
Well, Puchtel's trying to let him know he's coming, but it's, even with the best of intentions, difficult to get out of the way here. This is one of the most permanent racecourse feeling street circuits, but this part begins to feel pretty street circuity. At McPhillamy Park, you apex up against the wall, and then the whole field's going to go to the right over Brock's Skyline. That's about as well as you could hope for that to go for all parties involved.
Yeah, good awareness there on the part of Steve Vermetz, paying attention, observing, and respecting the leader's blue flag there. No F1 rules in the Champ Car Series, but those informational blue flags do go out.
So Michael Chase, who has pitted, is back out on track. He's now the highest running driver to have made a stop. So he's got to go hard and hope that Parks Miller, Carwile, David Martin, Lee Martin hold each other up a little bit. Well, it happened already for David Martin, who had that slowdown after cutting the chase at the end of last lap. But I'm not seeing signs of too many problems for Parks Miller or Carwile at the moment. Again, our leaders stay out. And again, all of these drivers do as well. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you stay out, there's some traffic. You pit, you'll definitely have traffic.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're doing your finger math well on the front straight, you might be figuring out that a pit stop from about 4th place back is going to put you right in front of Ross Dudridge in 15th place. And the whole gang of guys that we've checked in on a few times. It's let's see if we can get that on the screen. And they're wrecking at the chase. I mentioned them, and we've got Bowie Suin facing the wrong way. We'll see if we can get a replay here. Coming into the chase. And Oliver Brooks rolls a little bit of speed as Ross Dudridge kind of gets out on the grass, and one thing leads to another. A couple cars facing the wrong way. Ross Dudridge is going to take the opportunity to pit. And the pack that I was worried about for those drivers in 4th place might not be a pack anymore. I was going to point at the likes of Clancy Garvin and Oliver Brooks, who are doing pretty well for themselves in those team liveried cars. We're watching the Clancy going over the hill, and now Oliver going over the hill with Orlando Harrell behind. Each of them up 19 and 20 places respectively. So moving quickly through the field here. Doing well by their Odyssey Motorsport team.
And what a big theatrical release that's been.
I did wonder if there was some correlation there. I have a feeling that Odyssey Motorsport might predate the movie, though probably not the Odyssey.
Very few things do. Top 3 in the final corner. We're 35 minutes in with 25 to go. How much longer can this continue? The answer is a fair bit longer. Puchtel, Polasek and Collins stay out, but we've reached a point where more than half of the drivers have made a stop. It's the top 11 that haven't stopped, and then in 12th is Michael Chase. And these are the drivers he's trying to undercut. Caden Parks-Miller's got to be careful. He's cut the chase, has to clear the slowdown before he enters pit lane. Ryan Carwile, no such problems, but Michael Chase has had a problem.
Oh, no.
What has Michael Chase done?
I'm trying
I think
to
he's
see.
hit the wall at the elbow.
Yeah, that looks like a car that has hit the wall. We'll see it here. He's exiting. He comes out of the cutting. Turns back. And then, you know what? He turns into the elbow and just doesn't get the thing turned. Hits the outside wall and rights off the front corner of that car and kind of has to limp it down the straight. And this pit entry is going to be treacherous for him if he's done some damage to the toe. Does well to keep the thing pretty quick through the S that protects the entry there. Meanwhile, we've got a couple drivers that are finishing their pit stops. So Simon Follweather, Alex Harrison are just exiting the lane, and Lee Martin, Caden Parks-Miller, and David Martin are in the center of the screen.
Quick stop from Ryan Carwile, so he exits up front of that group, having jumped a few like David Martin and Caden Parks-Miller. Chase, after his second stop, is back out, but his chances of fighting for that 4th position have gone. I dare suspect this points towards getting our top 3 in at the end of this lap. But Puchtel maybe has also found the tracks become a bit dirty at the elbow. And on this lap, Michael Polasek is going to look to go past him down Conrod Straight. It's a buffet for Jared Collins to pick what slipstream he wants, but he wants to push Ryan Puchtel back alongside Michael Polasek, side by side for the race lead through the kink at the chase. It's going to be Puchtel on the inside, braking earlier. Polasek swooping around the outside. Jared Collins trying to swap back underneath, but they'll all know that they're heading for pit lane. Or are they? Puchtel is, but the other two stay out.
And I think that's the difference. Puchtel's been punched in that hole in the air for the first half of this race, and so he's got to be starving on fuel a little bit at this point. Meanwhile, Jared Collins and Michael Polasek are going to be able to continue on for at least one more lap. And with how close Polasek was running to Puchtel through the first half of that race, I have to think that he was probably 3/4 throttle at best going over the mountains for half of those laps.
Jared Collins 8/10 back, but in the slipstream of Michael Polasek, closing big time heading up the mountain. Ryan Puchtel's getting fuel, and I dare say probably one tyre. Yes, I think so. So he's out and going. One driver who definitely took all four for free was Bill Salen and Ross Dudridge. Long stops for them, changing all four tyres. That's 20 wheel nuts.
Yeah, these GRA6s make you work for the tires even if you don't have to pay for them in the simulator.
You got a favorite tire? Oh, I love BF Goodrich's all of a sudden, Devon.
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty big Goodrich fan.
So Polasek leading this race for the first time, pushing, trying to create an overcut versus Ryan Puchtel. Jared Collins trying to stay in touch with Polasek for whatever the race looks like and the form that it takes after these pit stops. Everyone except these two drivers has now pitted because Orlando Herald and Clancy Garvin come in. So this is going to be the final two pit stops that we need to see. Clancy Garvin, another driver who's fallen for the trap of four tires.
Yeah, fuel strategy and tire strategy are a big deal here in the ChampCar iRacing series, and if you get that wrong, you're going to pay for it. Clancy Garvin's showing some good pace though today, so he might be able to find his way back up to Orlando Herald. And our leaders take to the pit lane. Oh, and a spicy line there for Michael Polasek. Oh, and they get real close together on the entry. I think the two of them practiced very different entrances.
Well, officially there's 23 turns, but I think there's 27 because there's 4 that you've got to take on the pit entry. And they find their respective crews. Fuel going in for Jared Collins and Michael Polasek, who sat behind Ryan Puchtel all of that first stint, and hopefully means they don't have to take all too much. They're going, and they're side by side on the exit, and Polasek goes around the outside to keep the race lead just ahead of Jared Collins. Ryan Puchtel is exiting turn 1 behind them at speed, 4 seconds back and closing up Mountain Straight.
Yeah, despite the fact that he had to take or burn a lot of fuel in that first stint, he didn't have to take that much more fuel, but he's lost a lot of ground. And you know what, I think I'm going to chalk it up to that pit entry, because Collins and Polasek were on the limit on the way into the pit lane.
See if there's any sort of tire warm-up phase on the outlap here or anything for Ryan Puchtel. I wasn't following quite closely enough to know what happened for him on his outlap as well, if he encountered any issues or traffic or problems there. Certainly Polasek and Collins are remaining about 4 seconds ahead of him.
And from my end, it looked like it was a pretty clean outlap for Puchtel. Just the difference of the in and a slightly longer stop for him, but not that much longer.
So Polisek's leading, but at no point has he been able to shake Jared Collins. You can see all the scuffs on that concrete wall on the exit. These two drivers don't add to it, but you can tell how easy it would be to do so.
Yeah, when they are pushing down the mountain, there's not a lot of room for error. And it looks like we're going to get about 18 more minutes of them pushing down the mountain here, as they are locked in. And Jared Collins would really like to get a W in this one, because Michael Polisek, since returning to the series, making a late start of it this year, has put up 4 in a row. But you got to think, if you're Collins, it's a good place to be with that draft. I'm getting away from my co-commentator. It's 5 in a row for Michael Polisek.
Funny how this works. The pit in lap was actually the fastest lap of the race from Jared Collins, because you cut the inside of the final corner. I don't know if that's actually allowed to count as the fastest lap of the race, but it shows you how hard they were pushing on that in lap to build this gap that they have over Ryan Pucktel, and that remains. So Michael Polisek leading still, but not backing up, not backing Jared Collins towards Ryan Pucktel. These two are still going hard. Fair bit of traffic beginning to form in front of them. I think we've got sort of Cindy Pickett and Steve Hermetz and Tom Love.
If you're a little short on confidence, it can be a big difference up here. We'll see if they close up on the rear bumpers. The beauty of racing. It's the reason we don't just do a qualifying session, you know?
Brake lights going on and off as the drivers modulate the brakes and trail the brakes to slow the car, to rotate the car through the sequence of the track. Forest elbow, get the feeling Polisek hangs back a little bit. I think we've had a bit more contact with the wall there.
Oh, it's tough for Collins. Has to go 3 wide.
I can hardly look. This is make or break for Jared Collins, as he gets past both and stays in contact with Michael Polisek.
Yeah, it's a little spooky, but
Polisek wide there.
yeah,
I think he gets away without a slowdown, but it costs him some time. He runs all 4 tyres through the grass. And Jared Collins, who was maybe worried about losing touch, has never been closer.
Yeah, it gets right on the rear bumper as they come through the final turn. And notice it's a pretty short run to the line. So the action at this track tends to happen before the chase. As you get down to the final laps, another wide exit there for Collins, or for Polisek. And Collins is going to give him a push.
Very interesting. They remain 4 seconds ahead of Ryan Pucktel, pitted 1 lap earlier and lost touch with the race lead. He'll probably, almost certainly, still end up with most laps led, Ryan Pucktel. But if there's 1 lap you want to lead,
it's the last one. I know this answer.
100 points to you.
Meanwhile, I think we've got a few other battles going on deeper in the field. Nick Love in 14th place is holding off the likes of Kevin Glass and Oliver Brooks, coming through the final turn themselves. He's been under a little pressure from Kevin Glass, who is no longer the leading Canadian, but doing his best to be. Matt McGee, just a few places up the road, has the honor there. We'll watch them come through Corey Bend here. Pressure as they're flying up the hill. Kevin Glass gets a bit of a run. Oh, and a little bit of a late turn in. It's going to lose some momentum. See if there's something for it at the cutting.
Good group here. Love, Glass, and Brooks. Love had a slightly longish stop that maybe suggests he took 2 tyres or took a bit of extra fuel.
Yeah. Oh, and you see in the background there, that's Oliver Brooks getting a little bit untidy coming over Skyline. Misses the turn into
and
switch.
Down the hill too at the S's and the dipper. He hits the wall, having run wide at McPhillamy Park and dirtied up those tyres. Right behind him comes Ian Giebler.
Yeah, and you can see one mistake compounds into another mistake, and all of a sudden, a little bit of contact, dirty tires, and he's under a lot of pressure now from Ian Giebler. Push and pull of the mountain, you know, something always challenging you no matter where you look. Definitely one of those tracks where you're racing the track and the other drivers. Giebler won't quite get to the rear bumper. Any other battles out there, Haynes?
Plenty. Cameron Senhauser, we saw, had a nasty incident very early in this race. Now he, I think, has passed Will Warren and is catching Ross Dudridge.
Dudridge did show some good pace earlier in the race.
Took 4 tyres. They're going to be side by side down Conrod Straight. Cameron Senhauser gets his nose ahead. Dudridge doesn't give up on it just yet. That's Cameron Senhauser into 26th position.
Excellent wrap on the Senhauser mobile there. Don't know if we can get a close enough look at all those cats.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of cats.
So this was one of those groups you were talking about. Bowie Suin and Tim Taplin are just up the road 12 seconds or so, heading into turn 2. Suin, I think, catching up, pulling away in this section. And there's still nothing in between the race leaders. They've just crossed the start-finish line. 10 minutes, 5 laps to go. And they keep getting further away from Ryan Puxel. And then Ryan Carwile in 4th, and Caden Parks-Miller here in 5th. David Martin and Lee Martin together again, 6th and 7th.
Yeah, some battles all the way through the top 10 by the looks of things. Coming down to the end of this one.
And I think Simon Foweather may have gotten around Alex Harrison, whose car looks just a teeny bit damaged. Simon Foweather, noted BMW enthusiast, appears to have a livery that matches the WRT race-winning BMW GT3 from the Bathurst 12-hour, either last year or the year before.
Tasteful. Tasteful.
This is David Martin on the inside of Caden Parks-Miller, who runs wide, wrong side of the camber, dirty side of the racetrack. Lee Martin with some momentum alongside of him, but around the outside. Lee Martin's done enough laps around here to know how that one was going to end. He'll wait, but David Martin goes up into 5th place.
Tough spot to do it on the mountain, but he gets it done. Caden Parks-Miller looks like he wants to get back up into that 4th place he was occupying before the pit stops.
You don't expect to see any passing here. So David Martin now leads the group down the mountain, a little out of shape, but keeps it off the wall.
Just terrifying the way the car bottoms out and bounces sometimes through there. It's where all the engineers are making their money around a track like this.
So now we pick up speed. You get up into 6th gear and you close a lot, and there's just a little bump draft from Parks Miller to David Martin. Four laps to go. We go to a replay for Simon Foweather. Uh-oh, this is unfortunately not going to end well for him. Into the elbow. A little shallow on the way in. Oh, that's Bill Salen on the exit.
That's
noted
tough.
Porsche enthusiast.
I think I noted hot dog enthusiast too.
Noted Ford Mustang FR500S enjoyer.
That too.
Absolutely locked together, David Martin and Caden Parks Miller once again, with Lee Martin sitting behind. Simon Foweather has had to pit, and a tiny bit of traffic ahead. I think is going to be Tom Love.
Yeah,
I'd recognize that crooked hood vent anywhere.
Gonna have to hope that Tom gives him a little bit of space. It's tough up here. Car doesn't look like it's handling too well. Tom's gonna jump out of the way for him.
Pretty well done, I'll be honest. But they stay absolutely locked together here. Highest part of the racetrack. It's all downhill from here, like turning 30.
If anyone's
Don't look down the
watching-
inside there, Caden Parks Miller.
The pictures on the screen are exciting enough, but if you're watching the timing on champcar.hjbc.live, you might have noticed that our third place driver is Ryan Puckdell. He's running laps as fast as the leaders, which wouldn't be so notable if it weren't for the draft around here. He is pushing it to the limit over the mountain every time. Just caught a glimpse of that. We'll have to check in with him later. But it's battles. It's 3 laps to go, and these guys are putting on the show.
Here goes Parks Miller alongside David Martin. They get to the end of this straight, and the slipstream is so powerful once they get to 6th gear. Miller just not quite ahead at the point of turn in, but David Martin on a super tight line there loses all of his momentum. Lee Martin much more is going to look to get ahead of him. Michael Polasek lays down a new fastest lap of the race as there's Martin to Martin contact in the final corner. Lee Martin, marbles, dirt, wide.
Yeah, and this one will cool down for a little bit while the 3 of them get themselves sorted out again. Back at the front, Jared Collins and Michael Polasek are glued together. And that's still Polasek leading the race. Trying to make it 6 in a row. But yet again, Collins is right there.
Let's have a look at how hard Puckdell's pushing to stay with them then. We'll honour Devin Peters here. So very wide into Reed and Sulman. And cars like this almost just flat out there. Compression's called metal grate. McPhillamy Park, you can't see half of the corner till you're already turning into it. Now this is the part where you can be incredibly brave or also incredibly stupid. Dipper, tight line there means really getting the inside tires into the air, and you've got to come back to the right to try to break into a straight line. The wall juts out a little bit right at the apex of Forest Elbow there, and he manages to avoid that. and then you go up through the gears, and the slipstream doesn't seem all that powerful in 4th gear or 5th gear, but it's that moment where they get to the little rise in the middle of the straight here and they shift into 6th. From about here all the way to the braking zone, man, does that slipstream feel powerful. And it'll feel powerful on the final lap for Jared Collins, because I think he'll be thinking about that versus Michael Polasek. These top two so close together. Polasek unable to shake Jared Collins. And it's 2 laps to go at the line here. In about 2.5 minutes time, Jared Collins will be weighing up his options. How can he, place his knight and queen to try to checkmate Michael Polasek on the final lap?
No real chances to take a dry run at it, because you don't want to give your hand away to Michael Polasek either. So 2 laps to go, and I got to think Collins is waiting for that last lap.
So many battles are going to be decided like that on the final lap for the race win, but also for 5th, 6th and 7th, for 8th and 9th, where Jack Stadola has caught Alex Harrison. For 15th and 16th with Oliver Brooks and Ian Gieber, or in fact Nick Love and Kevin Glass too, John Sirota and Clancy Garvin and Tim Wire, Cameron Senhauser and Ross Dudridge. This is what the ChampCar iRacing series is meant to be for. It's for everyone to, practice their moves and strengthen their racing muscle.
And we're seeing some of that here. Strengthening his racing muscle is Clancy Garvin, as John Sirota does the over-under, or does the dive bomb, and Clancy handles the over-under nicely, with Tim Wire trying to follow him along into the final bend here.
That's Wire trying to get down the inside. Yeah, outside's become pretty dirty and dusty in some of those corners, it would seem. These drivers are going to have 2 more laps to settle that and sort it out.
Over the mountain.
This is where the race leaders are at, just coming down towards the chase to then begin the final lap of the race.
Just a couple tenths faster there for Michael Polasek over the mountain that time. I think Collins didn't quite get it right on the way out of Forest Elbow, and we'll see if he can get it right on the last one.
About to get the white flag as they come onto the start-finish straight, both drivers running wide out of Hell Corner and beginning one more lap of Mount Panorama. In 2026, every single time Michael Polasek has stood up to the plate, he's hit it out of the park. But he's going to have an immense challenge here to keep Jared Collins behind down Conrod Straight to end this lap. But he knows the challenge that he is facing, and he'll have a strategy in mind. For 5th, 6th and 7th, Caden Parks-Miller is under pressure, and as they start the final lap there, David Martin is looking down the inside of turn 1 to take 5th place, beginning the final lap. So many battles will be decided down Conrod Straight, but for the lead of the race and for 50 championship points, the defending champion Michael Polasek is out front. The current championship leader Jared Collins in 2nd behind Polasek leading. But he's dropping back. He's gone from 1/10 behind to 7/10 behind. I think Collins has either got a fuel issue, or he's had a little bit of an issue, or is he just giving himself a run-up?
Oh, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. How do you time it?
He's closer now. So Polasek doesn't actually want to be too far ahead at the elbow, if he can help it. Jared Collins is about the perfect distance, half a second behind. The perfect apex needed. He scuffs the wall, but he doesn't hit it. He doesn't smack it. It just rubs it. Half a second back in the slipstream of Michael Polasek. down Conrod Straight, picking up speed. It's already 2 miles an hour faster for Jared Collins. They go up into 6th gear underneath the gantry, and he'll be closing all the way to the braking zone. Polasek, which side of the road can he defend and cover? Is Jared Collins close enough? Not quite. He's not. Michael Polasek holds this race lead, exiting the corner. One last braking zone left. It is a good exit from Jared Collins to keep this pressure on. You've got to look. You've got to shape for it. You've got to have a dive, and he will, but he's not close enough. Michael Polasek's going to hit another home run at Mount Panorama for 6 wins in a row.
Ryan Pucktel comes around the final corner across his line in 3rd place. Ryan Carwile going to do the same in 4th. Caden Parks Miller is holding the outside and does the over-under to perfection. A mistake on the second to last lap isn't going to slow him down. David Martin runs wide, and he's going to be under pressure from Lee Martin, who's taking the move up the inside. As they come to the line, it looks like it'll be Caden Parks Miller, Lee Martin, and David Martin. Jack Stadola and Alex Harrison were glued together, battling as they came up the mountain. Alex Harrison made the pass on Stadola through the Corey Bend, but wasn't able to hold onto it, making a mistake at Skyline, letting Stadola by as they come down to the final corner. And Michael Chase will come in relatively quietly here. Clean 10th place on the final lap. Matt McGee is going to take the honors of... Matt McGee is going to take the honors of first Canadian as he comes around the final corner. Logan Senhauser, 12th. Nicholas Love, Kevin Glass, and Oliver Brooks been battling, and Kevin Glass makes a mistake on the final time through the chase. An easy mistake to make, and Oliver Brooks is going to pounce, securing 21 positions of improvement. After starting in 35th, he's going to finish in 14th place. Impressive stuff from him. Kevin Glass in 15th, Ian Giebler 16th, Andy Kosick in that minty looking mobile crossing in 17th place. Clancy Garvin ran as high as the mid-teens, going to finish in 18th place after a long pit stop. Tim Wire finishing in 19th, wasn't able to make the move in the final few corners. Orlando Harrell, John Sirota are coming around the final bend, and we've got Tim Taplin holding off John
Harrell's
Nicholson.
out of fuel, and so is there's another car. I think it's one of the drivetrainer cars is out of fuel.
Yeah, a few of them are out.
Bowie Sewin, perhaps?
Yeah, Bowie Sewin's out and gets passed in the line by Will Warren. So just a little miscalculation there. And Bill Salin will come through the final corner and take it across the line one last time.
Gee, there's some shenanigans on the outside of turn 1, but not only what a race track. Michael Polasek is unstoppable. 6 wins in a row. He's running out of fuel on his cool down lap, but he had just enough exactly when he needed it. This is the finishing order. Michael Polasek, from Jared Collins, from Ryan Pucktel. How come it's always you 3? It's the same drivers on the podium for, I think, the 5th race in a row now. Ryan Carwile there in 4th, Caden Parks Miller 5th, Lee Martin, David Martin, Jack Stadola, Alex Harrison, and Michael Chase as the top 10. Matt McGee, Logan Senhauser, Nick Love, Oliver Brooks, Kevin Glass, Ian Giebler, Andy Kosick, Clancy Garvin, Tim Wire, and Orlando Harrell coughing and spluttering across the line in our top half of the field. Also finishing on the lead lap was John Sirota, Tim Taplin, John Nicholford, Cameron Senhauser, Ross Dudridge, Will Warren, and Bowie Sewin was the last driver to complete 25 laps. One lap down was Steve Hermetz, Cindy Pickett, and Bill Salin. Simon Foweather having to park up with his damage 3 laps before the end. Tom Love completing 19 laps, and the last driver to make it past half race distance and be a classified finisher was James Heldling. Fortunately, Kevin Collins and LaShawn Young-Dilworth just short, and Andrew Ball not starting the race. We've got the prize wheel still to come after the podium. We'll chat to our podium place drivers now. Third was Ryan Puchtel on the podium. Again, part of that top three the whole race, the most laps led, but that one lap of fuel maybe let you down.
I don't know if it was that. I was looking at our pit lane times, and we were actually really close, like within a second, so maybe even less than that, half a second. I got a little bit unlucky. Traffic on one of my out laps, so I was expecting to come out about 2 seconds behind the leaders coming out of their pit stop, but they were like 4 seconds, so that was a bit too far for draft.
We've got 2 Australian tracks this season. How was the first one?
Well, I was never a fan of Bathurst, but it was all right in this car. I guess I could have had a lot of fun if I didn't have the pit stop issue. But yeah, the next track I've never driven, so I'm going to take a lot of practice there.
Well done. Another string of podiums, and we'll see you for the next races, Ryan. Actually, you might even be in this prize wheel.
Oh. Yeah, I'll see you guys.
See you, Ryan. Thank you. Devin, you ready to speak to second place?
I think I got second place right here. Jared Collins finishing in second once again.
Yeah, the first loser for the second week in a row.
Hey, well, it's an improvement from where you were a few weeks ago, and it feels like you were putting the pressure on Michael Polisek right there till the end. But then on the last couple laps, it seemed like he just managed to gap you.
Yeah, I was trying to time up a run and was playing around with, what can I do where, and I didn't quite have the pace out of the downhill section, and through Forest Elbow I was losing, I was probably half a second back coming out of the Forest Elbow every lap, and it was like just far enough where I would get a big run at the end, but not close enough where I could complete the pass. And so I tried to get a little sporty on the first half of the lap, and yeah, just lost a little bit of momentum, dropped back 7/10, and yeah, kind of lost an opportunity there on the last lap to really send it.
Well, it was a quality race around a challenging track here. It looked like you're going to have your chance to take the top step on the podium this week. Are you looking ahead to Mid-Ohio and thinking that maybe you got something there?
No, I mean, I think I'm looking ahead to Adelaide, I think, at this point. I mean, Polisek and Ryan are substantially better than me in the TCR. I am not going to kid myself that I've got a chance at either that race or Coda. The GR86 and MX5, the draft is enough, and I've got enough pace where I can stick with them and make it sporty. But on the TCR, honestly, I'm hoping for, maybe I can get third at best. But I know Ryan Carwile is really fast in that car too, and Michael Chase is as well. So I think I'll be struggling to get on the podium next week.
Well, you're showing yourself to be a pretty quality driver. So speaking of Coda, I heard you were looking to rent a seat this year.
I am, absolutely. If anybody is looking for a driver, I'm definitely looking to race there. I know ChampCar's going, and I think it's the last race ever that's open to the public at Coda before they go private. So definitely seems like a cool opportunity that ChampCar's getting to be the last series to go there before they lock it down. So definitely interested if anybody's got an extra seat and paying for a ride and getting to race it.
Well, folks, you heard it here first. If you want a real fast driver to come and drive your race car, then you know who to hit up. You can contact him in the Discord or on the ChampCar Garage. I bet Jared Collins, right?
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers, man.
And Michael Polisek joins us. Congratulations. Again, another race where you're patient the first half of the race, and then you've got to really stretch your legs in the second.
Yep, it just like the IR, it's another race of tactics as to where you want to be on the last lap. Ryan was incredibly fast this whole race, and he was definitely the guy to beat. So it was really unfortunate that he just fell off the draft train. I think he just got caught in some lap traffic or something. That pretty much forced him out of contention. Then was just down to me and Jared, and you could either be in the lead and hopefully have a big enough gap if you're good enough down the downhill to hold the lead so that the car behind can't get into range, or you can lose the lead and just draft by the car if you're close enough. I decided to lead because I think I was the better car going down the downhill, and I was able to pull a big enough gap for most laps, and fortunately on the last lap that's what happened. And from there it was just a matter of bringing it home and not making any mistakes for the last couple of corners.
You're on a hot streak of wins, but not just that, of completing races. So we've seen the names that are on the wheel. You're going to be one of them as well.
Hopefully I get lucky here, but best of luck to everyone.
And with Mid-Ohio to come next with just a quick flurry of races to end the season, how do you think you'll go there?
I have done a lot of laps in the TCRs there. So I'm pretty confident there, but we'll just see what happens. Should be a good race.
Congratulations to you once again, a winner at Mount Panorama. I think that entitles you to citizenship here.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've run the round 8 of ChampCar iRacing series. We've spoken to our podium. Now it's time for my handsome assistant, Devin Peters, to spin the wheel.
Well, I'm going to reach over there and poke our producer until he clicks the button, and we will see the names start spinning around. We got Michael Polasek, Ryan Pucktel, Jared Collins, Ryan Carwell, David Martin, Tim Wire, Ian Giebler, Lee Martin, Logan Senhauser, Kevin Collins, Alex Harrison, Bowie Sue and John Nicholford, James Helbling, Andrew Cossack, Stephen Ermetz, and Cindy Pickett all on the wheel. Not because they were fast, but because they showed up to rounds 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if you show up to rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12, you could be on the next wheel for your shot at 250 champ bucks. Spin that wheel. Looks like Alex Harrison is going to be the lucky winner of 250 champ bucks. Congratulations, Alex. And we will get a hold of him and get those champ bucks credits over to him as soon as we can. And in the meantime, you folks will have to come and join us at the next one.
Absolutely. Well done again to our podium, Michael Polasek, Jared Collins, and Ryan Pucktel, but also everyone who finished this race. That's 33 finishes in the Toyota GR86 at Bathurst. A tough ask with the walls always so close, so many blind corners, and the challenges of racing wheel to wheel. But you don't get better by being afraid of it and not doing it. Well done to all of our drivers. With Mid-Ohio still to come on the calendar, there's so much ChampCar iRacing series still to come in 2026. And then the Team Enduro series as well. We've definitely seen a little bit of teamwork makes the dream work out there as well. We might see the Senhausers together again. Could be something that Odyssey Motorsport team up for. We've got a couple of those Salins and Love racing cars out there too. So to finish off the solo driver season in 2 weeks' time, that might be 3 weeks' time at Mid-Ohio, is it 2 weeks' time? Adelaide Street Circuit, Road America, and Circuit of the Americas still to come for great tracks and for great races, no doubt. I've been David Haynes with Devin Peters and Michael Derby, and we'll see you with live HJBC coverage of every remaining round of the ChampCar iRacing series this year. Head on forum.champcar.org or just onto the ChampCar website find out how to join us, join the Discord, and join us on track. Great racing, great prizes, and we'll see you at Mid-Ohio.